What are you doing in my swamp?
Hello everybody, this is Overboy, and I'm going to be doing my review for the 1999 movie Alvin and the Chipmunks Meet Frankenstein. So, this is a direct-to-video movie, and Alvin and the Chipmunks are supposed to be doing a concert at this theme park that's, I guess, supposed to be like Universal Studios, and they end up trying to find this part of the park called Dragonland and get lost and everything, and by the time they get back to where their concert is supposed to be, it's nighttime and the park is closed and they're locked in, and they go to this tower and everything thinking that someone's in there because they see a light on, and we find out that Dr. Frankenstein had been hired as part of the one of the attractions at the park, but what the owner and stuff doesn't know is that he's planning on using the equipment and stuff to build his monster and stuff, and he builds the monster and it gets it to come to life, and he sends it chasing after the chipmunks, but the monster ends up forming a friendship with the chipmunks and everything, and they go back to the park after Alvin's been kidnapped by Dr. Frankenstein, and he gets turned into a little evil Alvin that looks like he's on crack. To be honest, I call him Crackhead Alvin. And so Simon and Theodore have to figure out how to change Alvin back and everything, and once they do, they save the day and with the help of the monster, and that's pretty much the story of the movie. This was one that I watched a lot as a kid. Probably the thing I watched the most that was Alvin and the Chipmunks related. I watched this probably more than anything when I was a kid, very long after it came out, like around Halloween time that year, and I watched it every year for the next 2 or 3 years around Halloween time. I absolutely loved this movie back then, and I haven't seen it in about 20 years until today. Because it was when my grandma was still alive and everything. It was the last time I watched it, and she died in 2004, and it was like the last year she was alive around Halloween time she was in the hospital, so I know it was either 2001 or 2002 when I watched it the very last time. I don't even think it was Halloween time when I watched it the last time either, but this movie is really something. In some ways I really love it still. It is really cheesy now and stuff, but I mean, all the Alvin and the Chipmunk stuff to me is cheesy now. That being said, I actually do still really enjoy it for the most part. I think it's a fun little family movie and everything. It's not trying to be anything super Oscar worthy or anything like that. It's just a fun little story about friendship and accepting people who are different than you and stuff like that. I love like the little message that the movie tries to send and everything, and you got a lot of shows and stuff doing that back in the 90s and everything. I like that about it, and it feels like a 90s movie, like it came out of the 90s and stuff. The way the characters are dressed are just pure 90s and everything, and the music in here, the songs they sing, you can tell are 90s song or meant to have 90s sounds and stuff, but I think that adds to the charm of it too, and I have a lot of nostalgia for this movie because, like I said, I hadn't seen it in 20 years, so revisiting it was really walk down memory lane and everything, and I like a lot of the songs in here, especially the first one, the Things Out There, and then if a Monster Came in Our Room was a pretty fun song, and as a kid I liked the If You Want to Have Friends song when they're in the park and everything. I don't like it near as much, but I still think it was a cool little moment in the movie where you get to see the Frankenstein monster learning how to get along with other people and stuff, mostly kids, which is a little weird, but I mean, he was just pretty much reborn yesterday, so I guess it makes sense. But it's 90s, so you can tell the animation came from the 90s and stuff, but it still works and everything. I think the voice casts are all pretty good in here. Arian Jr., the guy who created Alvin and the Chipmunks, his son does the voice of all three Chipmunks, and Dave, and I think he does a really good job. And call him Frankie, is what the Chipmunks call him, but I like him. I think he does a good job making the noises and stuff. He reminded me a lot of Boris Karloff, they make him lovable and everything, but I think they were pretty true to the character, though. Like, they made it and the way they did in the movies and stuff, except it's toned down and stuff. He doesn't kill people and stuff, because this is obviously more aimed at kids and stuff, at younger kids, but I think it's just a pretty decent little movie. Like I said, I always was a huge Frankenstein fan as a kid, so this was one of the things I absolutely loved. I watched Alvin and the Chipmunks Meet the Wolfman once as a kid, and I don't remember it very well at all, except I didn't like it as much as this one. I'm looking forward to revisiting that one too, because I haven't seen that one in years. I think the only time I saw it was actually probably the last time I saw this one. They played on back-to-back on, I think it was Disney Channel or Cartoon Network, one of those channels and everything. It might have been Toon Disney, but they played on back-to-back, and I watched them both back then, and I don't remember the one where they meet the Wolfman at all, really, so I'm looking forward to giving that another shot. But all in all, I think Alvin and the Chipmunks Meet Frankenstein is a fun little movie that I know it has its little fan base, like kids that grew up with it love it. If you didn't grow up with it, you might not love it, but it's entertaining, and to me it's better than most of the other Alvin and the Chipmunks movies. It might even be my favorite movie of all of them, and that could just be because of the nostalgia too, because like I said, I have a lot of nostalgia for this movie, and it was fun getting to revisit it for the first time in about 20 years and everything. So I'd say I'd give Alvin and the Chipmunks movie no. Is it something that's gonna win Oscars, or if you saw it, you probably would still enjoy it. It's a good little throwback if you're wanting to watch something from the 90s. It's fun and spooky, and they had all kinds of good stuff like this back in the 90s and everything. Fun little family movies that were creepy and stuff, that aimed at kids and stuff, like Goosebumps and Casper's, stuff like that. So this was another one of those that I like to revisit it. I'm going to revisit it a little bit more often now that I finally got it on DVD. But anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of this movie, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.
Yeah!